Hey folks, and in this episode of To The Point, we are speaking with Air Force veteran, public speaker, and author Adam Braatz is here with us. I just have to say it that way. It just sounds better. Not just because he's from Wisconsin, but that's what we do. So, Adam, we were talking before, we were covering, of course, the election, which I think everybody is covering, but we kind of dabbled in it. Now I want to jump all the way, cannonball the kiddie pool, as I like to call it. Jump into diversity of thought and opinions within the veteran community. I think it's something a lot of people don't know. In the election, it was really bubbled to the surface that not every single veteran is a staunch, diehard Republican who just votes down the party line, which so many people are asking me, you don't support Trump? You were a Marine. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, so are Marines just supposed to be like, okay? I mean, shut up, everybody making the comment like, well, yeah, you guys do. No, we don't. A lot of us think on our own. So what have you seen? What's your thoughts on it? Because I know I see a lot of what you post online. You're talking, people kind of engaging that conversation, stirring the pot in a positive way, not in the Eric way, but you're doing it in more positive way than I normally do it.
Try to.
You do a much better job than I do. I just walk in there like, oh crap, he's here. You walk in there like, oh, that's a good conversation. So, what are some of your thoughts on how we can change this typecast? Veterans all have PTSD and we're all Trump supporters.
Yeah, and we're all, unhinged and any of us.
All of the stuff we are. We're all 1 second away from a mass shooting.
Right. It's incredible how many people fail to recognize the diversity of thought, both people that are outside of the military community and folks that are even within the military and the veteran community. It's a byproduct of the echo chambers that we place ourselves in. But for some reason, it's doubly powerful in the veteran community. Now, the American military is incredibly diverse. It's one of the most diverse organizations in the country, on the planet. We have folks of every single different origin, background, race, creed, religion, you name it, sexual orientation, anything. I mean, it is super duper diverse. It is typically displayed as, a kind of right-wing good old boys club, but in the trenches, boots on the ground, behind the scenes, it's not the case. It's very, very diverse. And I think the American military, actually, I contend that it derives a majority of its strength from its diversity. Diversity is the strength point. That's why you see, and a leverage point. That's why you see so many large corporate organizations, large corporations that investing in their diversity and inclusion programs, because they know they're stronger when they're more diverse. So that said, it's funny, like, I think speaking out and being more vocal, even thinking that the tide is against you, is really important, because as I said earlier, there are stereotypes and stigmas that go along with being a veteran, but it never ceases to amaze me when I speak out with my generally more progressive views, how many veterans even will come out and be like, well, you never served, clearly. This is stolen valor. Like they would go straight to stolen valor.
I feel you on that one.
Before they would consider the possibility that there would be a progressive veteran.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think, because I get that too, man. I mean, you know me, you know my mouth, you've known me for a while. I'm snarky, and I clearly don't bat for Trump. And the number one thing, other than being told to go back from where I'm from, I really don't like Florida. So yeah, that's where I was born, but that doesn't mean I want to go back. I don't know why that's like the Trump thing. The Trumpkins always go with that, but it is something that's funny to have. Hey, if you want to be a real man, you'd go enlist, and I'm like, bro, I already did. Oh, did you really? And then you slap a Marine Corps photo. Now, granted, you were in the Air Force, so you guys, I mean, hey, your service is just as good as mine, but you know the difference, how people perceive us in the outside world. There's no better FU than a Marine Corps photo that you send somebody like, hi, you see this? Say it again. And it's a big difference because people see the dress blues, and come on, every branch loves our uniform. Even the Army's envious of us because they keep trying to go back to World War II with their unis. I mean, and their new uniforms, by the way, look good. You guys have your blues, they look good. I mean, I like the Air Force.
Yeah, we look like flight attendants. but you know.
Well, you said it. I didn't. I was being nice. I mean, I go through this with Kuchera over there at Vet Pivot all the time. I've eased on my bashing of the Air Force. I mean, I have mad love for it, but again,
Well,
but I mean, why do
him and I both wore the hat
I love
right
it.
here.
Yeah,
so
you guys are the big
inherently
dogs.
sharper than everybody else.
So why do you think it's so easy for people to start going after stolen valor? I see this even with the Marine rapper, right? He gets attacked all the time because they're like, oh, you were a combat photographer. And the people who are calling him out are served during my time, the 90s. And it's like, dude, you're going to lose this battle. The dude was a combat photographer in a combat zone. You were an 0311 humping in the woods with a BFA on the front of your weapon. Sorry, big difference. There was no war. Why do you think it's so easy for I call them veteran on veteran crimes? For us the media, if you don't agree with it, it's easy to go, Adam, stolen valor. There's no way you disagree with me. Stolen valor. I mean, why do you think it's so easy for us to do that? We're supposed to love each other. I mean, it's something that we stand for. We're brothers instantly. But politics seem to make some people forget that. And it's usually not the bigger named people, because I am close with a lot of big name conservative veterans who we don't have to see eye to eye. At the end of the day, we'll go blow to blow on social media and people will be like, oh my God.
Still go out and have a beer afterwards.
Yeah, like, dude, we'll be messaging like, dude, can I help you out? How can I help you? Why do you think it's so much easier for certain people to do you think here's my question. Do you think it ties into the president because it's so easy for him to what a good veteran is and a bad veteran, or by a guy who never served, which always cracks me up that he's judging any one of us. I'm like, it's kind of like when his son uses the word war. I'm like, hey, Junior, less Coke, go serve. If you want to use the word war, it's not Call of Duty, bro. Or whatever you call whatever you do, cocaine. But... There we go. This is my show. This is what we do around here. So, I mean, why do you think this, we're talking about the diversity of thought and opinion. Why does everybody think we all have to, I always go with goose step when I talk about Trump. I don't know why all the German things come flying out when I think of the man. Why do you think everybody thinks we have to march to that drummer and not to the beat of our own when we all have DD-214s? So we can march to whatever drummer we want?
Right. Well, I think veterans love eating their own. And I know you mentioned that you had just spoken with Matt Kuchera about that on a previous show. Like veterans eat their own. They do. And for some reason, a lot of them believe that there is a litmus test to like whether or not you are a quote unquote real veteran. If and this happened to me the other day, I had made a post on TikTok, and anybody that follows me on TikTok knows that I just basically garbage post making fun of people about politics, which is very fun and entertaining. I love TikTok, but this guy came out and is like, clearly this is stolen valor. And I said, dude, I mean, why would you jump to that? And I don't know why I engaged with this guy. For some reason, I must have been in the mood to pick a fight. And he said, no veteran would ever think that way. What was your MOS? Well, it's an AFSC actually, because I was in the Air Force. Bought 8 Bravo 000, and you can go choke on my DD-214.
Yeah.
And because I didn't owe him anything. Yeah. But this guy kept going. He followed me on like 10 different social media platforms. And everything that I was on, he followed me, and he sent me a private message saying, prove to me that you're a vet. Prove to me that you're a vet. Prove to me that you're a vet. And he had seen combat. So apparently, even if I had said I was in military training instructor corps by the time I got out, and I did deploy before that, he would have been like, well, were you in combat? And apparently if somebody didn't deploy, never left stateside, if somebody didn't, then they're not a real veteran, and therefore their opinion is invalid. And it goes to the echo chambers, and it is I think a result of where we're at with our mass media globalization and social media. I mean, right now we have 65 million people in the United States that legit believe, without any evidence whatsoever, that they were cheated out of an election, because they can't even wrap their brain around the idea that any human being could vote for somebody on the other end of the aisle.
Very true. But I mean, we're talking about the same people that at one state are screaming, stop the vote. And in other states, they're like, count the vote. And know what's funny is they're standing in front of a polling place where they are counting the vote. So yelling it, that's what they're doing. These aren't the brightest tools in the shed. Remember, they couldn't decipher Four Seasons Philadelphia from Four Seasons Landscaping, between the dildo shop and the crematorium. And look who's right there, Captain tucking in his pants himself, Rudy Giuliani. I mean, these people are crazy, and you're right. Sorry, it gets me on a bandwagon when I go off because these people...
Hey, man, I'm right there with you.
They believe so much crap, and they're on social. Now, I'm not on TikTok, just because I'm on enough, excuse me. But, you see it on Twitter, and this will be our final thing, and then we'll be done. We'll go a little long here. Dude. You're on Talk. I'm a big guy on Twitter. I see you on Twitter quite often. Facebook, I'm just on Facebook because we have a business on there. I love Twitter, love the gram. LinkedIn's for business. I really hate it when people bleed politics into there because that's not where it belongs. Although people who have TV shows do post their stuff on there. Hey, it's called a social media platform for a reason.
Right.
Now you're seeing the big move all over with I'm going to Parler or Wee or whatever, all these stupid we, everybody wants to go to a greater, greener grass, and we'll leave, and I'd like your final thoughts on this before we go. It's the same thing, it's just another echo chamber. Right? I mean, that's what I look at it as. So what? Now you're going to be around 65 million other idiots. So you're not just going to spew your dumbassity on Twitter and TikTok. Oh, you're going to put it all together so you guys can go around going, we know we were cheated. How do you know? The orange racist pumpkin who never served the Johnny Appleseed of COVID-19, he told me so because he said he won. Now, 3 people who were in a room with him Wednesday morning, 2:35 a.m., have COVID-19 because he still has COVID-19. So, what's your thoughts on all this jumping from media platform to media platform to find good news?
Well, that's anybody that wants to leave the places I'm at to go to Parler, they can go ahead. And my theory on Parler is that it's a good thing. And I'll tell you why, because those people that are jumping ship to go to Parler so they can live in an even more insulated echo chamber, they're in an echo chamber anyways. They're not going to believe anything outside of their party line or their messaging line, right? So, but humans inherently want to argue and they want conflict, and they're never going to agree. If we think we're going to have 60 million users on Parler just with one unified message of togetherness, no, they're going to splinter, they're going to argue, they're going to fight, and there's going to be divisiveness because there's no social media platform, no matter how aligned people are at the onset, that can avoid division or conflict. So yeah, let them eat themselves. Let the trash take itself out. That's fine. Bye.
I love that. That is the best answer. Let the trash take out itself, because it does, brother. It's so true.